Hey, yo, what the f***? This is a palace right here.
The late night flight is paid for by the following.
Time to play the game where we find out who's capping. It is This Is Sound.
This is the game where we find out if this is the bull. I am Nasua, new crew. And alongside with me is Credo, Donte. Donte, what up with you, my guy?
Man, I'm alive. You can't kill me, mother.
My coronavirus survivor is back. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the pilot of the Talk My Credo podcast. He is Donte Credo. Hey, yo, Donte, real quick. I know you're alive and well, and we are happy. God is happy. Everyone is happy. But did you see President Joe Biden greeting the Saudi crown prince with a fist bump? Do you think it was absolute? Do you think it was unaware? Or do you think it was absurd? Come on, just let me know. It's an image of a lifetime. Let me see. Talk to me.
There's going to be a theme throughout this episode, so we're going to start it here. It was all of the above. It was absolute, it was unaware, and it was absurd. All in one.
Let's play the game. According to the New York Post, a troop of wild monkeys in India stole a baby from his father and tossed the boy from a third-story rooftop, killing him instantly. The infant's father, Nirdesh Upadhyay, who is 25 years old, and his wife were on the rooftop with their 4-month-old son when several monkeys attacked them. The wife managed to escape the unhinged monkeys, but the monkeys cornered Nirdesh. He tried to run off, but dropped his son as he did, leaving one of the animals to scoop up the boy and toss him off the rooftop. An investigation into the deadly incident is reportedly underway. The boy died instantly. The enraged monkeys also attacked other relatives in addition to the boy's father when they responded to the roof. Donte, I ask you, is it the bull that Fox News reported that this is black on black crime?
Wow.
It's total bullshit, but at the same time, you know, they're very consistent in their reporting. So, sure.
A TikToker. What? A person on TikTok, because that sounds so much better than a TikToker. Yes, TikToker.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A person on TikTok went viral after posting a video suggesting that she promoted to a manager's position at her job after dating her manager. The video has received over 425,000 views since being posted on June 16th by user Kendall Serene, which is at Ken Serene, Serene on the TikTok. It has sparked discussion among viewers, with some concern that the incident would constitute a human resource issue. In the video, Kendall is in an office wearing a work uniform. While she does not speak in the video, she smiles and sips a drink as a text overlay reads, "Dating your manager is never a good idea." She then winks as the text overlay changes to read, "Gets promoted to manager." Donte, I ask you, is it the bull that she works for the WWE?
Actually, no, because, you know, for whatever, if you know how to work the pen, if you know how to work the mat, then sure.
You work the pen, you work the mat, this will work at NDA. All right.
Exactly.
And finally, according to CNN, a mother by the name of Jody Brown posted a video showing a costume character appearing to ignore 2 black children during a parade at Sesame Place in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Bucks County, Pennsylvania is not the blackest place on earth, okay? I just want people to know that. This is a 87% white American demographic, okay? Be careful. This is not Philadelphia. Jody Brown and her attorney told CNN that the Sesame Place character, Rosita, was intentionally racist toward her niece and daughter. In the 9-second video shared by Brown on Instagram, her daughter and niece are reaching out for a hug from the character Rosita. In the video, Rosita is seen high-fiving others before seemingly wagging her finger at an unidentified person and then shakes her head no at Brown's daughter and niece before walking away from them. Brown told CNN that the character Rosita was walking down the parade route, high-fiving and hugging other children when the character intentionally ignored her daughter and niece. Right after the character passed them, there was another little girl next to them who was of a different race, and Rosita hugged her. This is what Miss Brown said. My daughter was just sad. She asked Mom, what did I do? What happened? And I said, you didn't do anything. Some people are just mean people. Sesame Place said they spoke with and apologized to the family for the experience they had, refunded costs, and offered them a return visit. Now, Donte, check me out. I am not a soothsayer. I am not clairvoyant, but I just have to say this. If they refunded them money and apologized, people know how to clout chase now in these days. That's not enough. That's not enough that is not enough for racism, okay? That is not equal to reparations. Am I right about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely correct.
Expect Miss Brown to get more out of Sesame Place. I just want to put that out there. Anyway, let me continue. This is a written statement from Sesame Place. It is not acceptable to us when children and families do not feel special, seen, and included at our park. Our performers work here to entertain and inspire all children, not just the white ones. I just added that. Not to disappoint any of them. No child should ever leave our park feeling disappointed or ignored. That is the opposite of what our park is intended to aspire for children or in children. We want every child who comes to the park to have a positive, memorable experience. And we commit to learn everything we can from this situation and make needed changes. They sound like an NBA coach. As noted previously, don't that sound like something that Coach Spoelstra would just say after a loss? Look, man, we're going to learn from our mistakes. We're going to watch the tape, and we're going to come out and beat the out of Denver. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. As noted previously, we will provide additional training for Sesame Place employees to help them better understand Black people, recognize Black people, and deliver an inclusive, equitable, and entertainment experience to our guests, which are Black people. Donte, I ask you. I ask you, Donte. Donte, I ask you. I ask you, Donte. Donte, I ask you. This your second time. You better make this good, mother.
What's up? What's up, man? Let's do it. I'm here.
Donte, are you ready, Donte?
I'm ready, bro. What you got?
Donte, I ain't even gonna lie to you. Last week's episode, or our last episode, was really good, and I think we about to give it to him again. Donte, are you ready?
I'm ready, bro. I'm ready.
Is it the bullshit that in negotiations between Black America and Sesame Place, white women can no longer purchase Tickle Me Elmo, but can now buy Tickle Mandingo? You ain't gotta answer that.
Turn this off, man. Turn this off.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's a bunch of us. I'm a hand in the colony.
Hold on. Everybody on their mountain, everybody marching for a young nigga like me to get tsunami on it. I'ma get it, I'ma win it, baby. I'll be on my curry till I crash and burn 40 on the tank. Yeah, I'm acting nerdy if it's at the Appalachian to the Appalachian. I'ma do whatever that they take to make a Black a nation. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sweets, and I'm your chief flight attendant. On behalf of the pilot and the entire crew, welcome aboard the late night flight. And here's your captain, the Nile River of New Jersey, the pilot of Tuskegee Training, the greatest honey badger who has ever lived, the creator of Black Pilot Radio and the late night flight. Here is the victorious one, Nasor Nuru.
What up, my passengers? We are first in priority. Donate to the Cash App $, the late night flight to get this work from minorities. The late night flight, oh, you never heard of it? Turn up the turbulence. Catch us on these Apple Podcasts and these Spotify services. iHeartRadio, YouTube, and the late night QR scan. Download Audible, download Amazon, just to hear us back and forth like a U-Haul van. Hey, I started out not ahead of you. Now look at me, young pilot with the better view. Making sure you can hear all 96 episodes wherever podcasts are available. Now let's take off.
I was trying to imagine it, and it's hard for me to even put myself into what she's going through. Like, she's such a great human being, a great person. Obviously, I've been in her presence a few times, and you know, you always feel like, you know, if you're from a certain place, you always feel like they got your back. And in a sense, like, now, how can she feel like America has her back? Like, I would be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America if I've been gone over 130 days and I feel like it's been zero effort.
So who you just heard is the second greatest player ever in the NBA, LeBron James. That's my opinion, though. It's just my opinion. Don't worry about it. And he's talking about the great Brittany Griner. Now, Brittany Griner is not just some ordinary Brittany Griner. She is a one-time WNBA champion, an 8-time WNBA All-Star, a 2-time WNBA scoring champion, an Olympic gold medalist. I mean, this woman is somebody. And it's the funniest thing, Donte. Check this out, bro. She's also a three-time, and you got to say it 3 times when you say 3 times, a 3-time Russian National League basketball champion. And some hash oil and a fight against Ukraine so you can bring the boys back and make it USSR all over again. We ain't gonna get to that, though. We ain't talking about that, though. But, you know what's going on. We call it chess pieces. Or it could be like checkers and just telling people to king me. I don't know. It's one or the other. Either one. That's what's going on right now. And LeBron made comments because, of course, the shop got to eat. The Uninterrupted has to eat. I mean, it's no longer on HBO. They're trying to build their platform. They got to monetize in some type of way. And he made these comments. You heard the comments. And I'm just going to ask you, Donte, let's just get right into it. Do you find it to be unaware or do you find it to be absurd?
When it comes to LeBron James, I believe everything he does is absolute. Right? But the problem is, it's LeBron James. Like, I agree with you. The second best player of all time. However, when it comes to the most scrutinized, when it comes to the most hated, if you will, to where the microscope is constantly on him and has been on him for the last 20 plus years, I think I will also say that LeBron was unaware. I say that not because what he said was unaware. It's because I don't think he understands just who he is in a sense, as far as every word he says will be dissected. It'll be misconstrued. It'll be taken this way. It'll be taken that way. And then just in a matter of 15 seconds, him saying something that we've all have said when it comes to just criticizing and just questioning the things that happens in our great nation. And it creates a firestorm. So even though I agree with what he said, it was absolute in what he said.
Right.
But he was unaware because who it came from.
I'm with you, Donte. I'm with you. I'm going to say he was unaware. But in his soul, what he said when it came out of his mouth, it was absolute.
Right.
It's an opinionated, passionate statement. He is saying, if I, LeBron James, the second greatest player of all time was Brittany Griner, I don't know if I would even want to go back to America. Maybe I need to talk to Vladimir over a shot of vodka and say, hey, listen, I've been a 3-time world champion with you. I'm just saying, like, me and Steven Snowden, whatever that dude name is that did the, we could just hang out and chill. It'd be all good. You know what I'm saying? And listen, it's kind of hard to make jokes when someone is being held captive. Absolutely. We want the sister to come back home. Here's where I'm saying he's unaware. He's unaware because did he forget we live in a country that's divided right now? Did he forget we have right-wing Republicans that will say, did you just hear him say, do I even want to go back to America? America. Exactly. America. And it will be patriots and guns and white people all out ready. Like, yo, we ain't going to see no basketball games. We ain't doing nothing. We about to say the N-word. Yeah. And we ain't talking about, we about to say a whole bunch of things all over again. Just because the second greatest player of all time in the NBA said what he said, and he wasn't being rude about it. I mean, it's funny. White people wasn't even mad when he called Boston racist right after that. Oh, it's like, oh, we know that. Oh, come on. It's Boston. Yeah. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. You invest money with, invest money. I take that all the way back. You have money in the Boston Red Sox. You're a minority owner. All right. So we know you know about Boston, bro. We ain't gotta go there. But when it comes to this situation, it's so unaware because, bro, there's a two-way street with this. Number one, yes, America, we want to get the sister back. Come on, do what you can to get her back. We know you're doing your best to leave Russia alone while they're over here trying to get the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC together to put a mega group. And you know you got nothing to do with that, because if you do, that might be World War III. I understand you being cautious, but America's talking, and it's louder than it's ever been because of social media. We're on our phones before television and all those other mediums that we use now. So Here's the thing. Here's where you're unaware. You know, if the NBA, and I'm not saying it's their fault, but if the NBA would pour more money into the WNBA and give the sisters a salary, whereas, and I hate to be the one to tell what the number is, but I'm only going by the golden era of the NBA, just to help out. $500,000 to $2 million for the top player. That's just my personal opinion. I could be right, I could be wrong. I know women are going to be like, how dare you put a cap on this? But I'm going to do it like this. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, some of the greatest NBA players in the 80s and early 90s made $1 or $2 million. Even Michael Jordan, until his last 2 years as a Chicago Bull, where he wound up making $35 million the last 2 years, even Jerry Krause was like, I can't believe I signed this contract to let him do this. No one knew that was going to happen because no one was making 30 plus million in 1 year in the 90s. Go ahead, check the records. I promise you they wasn't. Okay? So this is what I'm saying for a business that hasn't been thriving yet. They're getting their name out there, and they're getting more dynamic players such as Brittany Griner, such as Candace Parker and Maya Moore. But realistically, they don't have that player that's going to tomahawk jam it, go crazy yet. It's going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. You got to give it time, just like how the NBA was in the 50s and 60s and the 70s. Wilt Chamberlain was doing a dunk, but he wasn't doing a Shaquille O'Neal tomahawk slam, bring the backboard to the ground. The dynamics has to happen. I want to read this quick post from the great comedian Bill Burr. He talked about the NBA. So you already know this is rude. I'm sorry, not the NBA. My apologies. He talked about the WNBA. So it's rude and maybe a little factual, okay?
Yep.
So this is what he says about the WNBA. He says, look at the WNBA. They have been playing in front of 300 to 400 people a night for a quarter of a century. Not to mention, it's a male-subsidized league. We gave you a league and none of you showed up. He's talking about the women. Where are all the feminists? That place should be packed with feminists. Faces painted, wearing jerseys, going nuts like the guys do. This is what Bill Burr said, y'all, not me. None of you went to these games. You failed them. Not me, not men. Women failed the WNBA. Ladies, name your top 5 WNBA players of all time. Name 5 WNBA teams. Name the WNBA team in your city. You can't do it. And look, I only said it because it's funny and it's slightly true. But at the same time, I'm not here to blame women as not being the resource of the WNBA. I mean, yes, you, in a sense, you're at fault, but we're talking about someone being held captive. All I'm saying is that if the NBA would have invested more money for the next 10 years to give the sisters more money, they wouldn't have to go overseas to make more money than what they do home. Would you agree with that, Donte?
I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if that was in place, then she wouldn't have to go over there to win championships in an entirely different country.
Okay, I get it. I don't watch the WNBA. But listen, why we can't talk about that Kevin Samuels autopsy? I sent you the link, but I get it. You trying to play me. You trying to be difficult. It's all good. And just for that, I'm about to start a podcast called Big Only. And listen, because you try to be brand new and play me with that, you're not even invited. Okay? You heard that, ladies? He's not invited.
Listen, I love Chappelle, so I'm not going to really speak on it, but for him to, right now can't nobody touch him because he's the one that's doing it and they're filming everything he do right now and putting it out as a special. The thing is, you got to ask yourself as an artist, is it special? Or am I just, or are they taking advantage of me because I'm special? So like I said, I haven't watched the new the speech. If you're going to put a speech up as a speech, don't blur the lines.
Right. It's a little confusing.
Is this a special or this a speech?
So Donte, who you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, who you just heard is the second funniest Wayans brother or Wayans family member, in my opinion, of course, that is out there. All right? You gotta say family member because Kim Wayans.
I agree. Have to put Kim in there. Have to include Kim.
In your house. Come on, don't act like that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Don't act like you didn't want Kim Wayans in your house back in the day.
Yeah.
Kim Wayans put the cat suit on in your house. I'm like, you know what? All right. Someone be using the squat machine. I see you, girl. Go ahead.
I see the gains.
I see the gains. Get right. So Damon Wayans is out here on these streets, and I don't know if he's taking a shot at the great Dave Chappelle or if he's using Dave Chappelle as leverage to see if people will want to come see him on a stand-up special in the future. He goes on and talks about Dave Chappelle's latest stand-up routines, and he wants to classify them as either specials or speeches. These comedy specials that are coming from Dave Chappelle sound more like speeches than specials. And if you go to the closer, I would say there's a half truth to that because for the most part, let's be honest, 37 minutes of the closure was not only dedicated to the transgender community, but it wasn't even funny anymore. It was like, well, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a Dave Chappelle fan. I laugh because I get the joke. I knew exactly what he was doing. But I would say to the average person I won't say average person, but let's say someone that thinks Martin Lawrence is more funny because he uses he's a slapstick comedian. He uses physicality. Right. So when they think that's the silly stuff, that's the funny stuff, that's the good stuff, Dave Chappelle doesn't really do that. That already takes them out the system. You know what I'm saying? Like I have never met a woman that likes my comedic taste. Like for me, and when it comes to Black America, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, they do it for me. That's just me though. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I never found a woman that liked either one of them. They like, no, Martin Lawrence and Mike Epps. I'm like, oh man, check please.
Yeah. Same here.
But they're funny though. Don't get it messed up.
Yeah.
Like all the people we're talking about is funny. Even Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans, in my opinion, is the first Mike Epps. Now, mind you, he's not Mike Epps where he was just some nobody in these local clubs and Ice Cube said, get him right now. I know what to do with him. Get him. I mean, this guy comes from a Hollywood Black American family from the 80s. We're talking about them, the Wayans brothers, the Wayans family, and Robert Townsend, Hollywood Shuffle himself. They were doing it before we even knew what black media, black film was going to be. They were already doing it. And Damon Wayans didn't have to be a big-time stand-up comedian. The guy was in The Last Boy Scout. Oh, we ain't even got to talk about Living Color, because in Living Color, in my opinion, I think character-wise, if we're just going character, yo, he's top 3 dead or alive, yo, in my opinion.
I agree.
In my opinion, Damon Wayans, he can sit down and talk to Keenan like, hey, listen, big bro, I know it's your thing and everything, and you wrote it, but I'm just saying, me, Jim Carrey, and Jamie Foxx, I mean, we done put this thing on a map.
Absolutely.
No conversation. So let's just get right into it. Donte, do you agree? Do you find this to be absurd? Do you find this to be absolute? Or do you find this to be unaware that the great Damon Wayans wants to come at the neck of Dave Chappelle and call his specials speeches?
Well, I listened to the clip and then I went and watched the entire interview.
Okay.
And I see and understand. I'll go ahead and just tell y'all what I'm doing. I'm as I'm talking, I'm trying to figure out which side I want to stick on. Because I told you, I struggle with these things. I struggle with this game. And I don't know what it is. But I'm going to stand on absolute.
Okay.
And here's why I'm going to stand on absolute. Because I don't think he was actually trying to, shade or throw any type of shot to Dave Chappelle. I think it was a shot to Netflix. And I think it was he sees the pattern of basically Dave Chappelle is literally on fire.
Yes.
You cannot touch this man.
Yes.
There is no person that represents comedy as far as the ambassador, the envoy. Hell, Dave Chappelle is the avatar of comedy right now. And whatever he does, Netflix is going to put up some sort of special about it. Just whatever he does, Netflix is going to be there. And I think that's both a good thing. I see the double-edged sword in it because Netflix is like, okay, we believe in you. We're going to invest in you and whatever you want to do, you got carte blanche. You can do whatever you want to. We're going to help you get your money and your rights and stuff from the Chappelle show and da-da-da-da-da. So I get it. It's dope. But at the same time, it's like, all right, the last special that went up for Dave Chappelle wasn't really a special. It was, in fact, just like a speech for the center that they were going to put in his name, but the LGBTQ community got mad and was like, no, we don't want you to do that. So he had them rename it, but he still went and gave a speech. It was just the speech that he gave. And I think he was speaking more to that as far as, is Netflix really trying to help Dave Chappelle, or they're just using him, Dave Chappelle, the comedian, and wrapping up everything that he does when there's a microphone in his hand as a special, when maybe not so much. And I'll leave it there because I promise I'll switch to something else.
Well, hopefully you're about to switch to absurd, because this is exactly what this is to me. This is absurd. Look, I already know that Damon Wayans is probably, and this is me speculating, I don't really know, but I'm just going to assume when you take these subtle jabs, of course he gave the man his points, his cookies, his flowers, whatever you want to use those terms. He definitely said that. He said Dave Chappelle is the comedian of our generation. He put that out there. So he did the Stephen A. Smith. You know, Stephen A. be like, listen, Magic Johnson has been my friend forever. Before I was born, I got to talk to Magic Johnson personally. I asked him, I said, what was the first ring like? And then I came out and I interviewed him on the third and fourth wing. 2 years old. Me, Stephen A. Smith. But I gotta tell you, he was tragic Magic Johnson because he didn't have a jump shot. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
That is what my man likes to do. You know what I'm saying? And Damon Wayans did that slightly. I give him a C+ on the execution. But I will say this, even though it's absurd. The closer, and that, I don't remember the name of it. It was the time that George Floyd passed away. It was the minutes and seconds.
8:46.
My apologies for not knowing that. Thank you, Donte. 8:46. That, I ain't even gonna hold you. That in itself was a speech.
Yep.
That was a speech. That was a straight up speech. You can't, look, I'm not even gonna run from it. And I think Dave Chappelle is still the #1 comedian in the world. That was a speech. However, I gotta say this though. You know what? Damon Wayans, bro, on some real, so what though? So what if it was a speech? Comedy has to evolve in some type of way. Jon Stewart evolved the news desk. The news desk was for the starchy anchor man, anchor woman that would just say, tonight at 11, someone's shot, someone dies, someone's murdered. We'll be right back to you, Greg. It was all of that forever. And what Jon Stewart did was, hey, guess what? Even though I'm at the table, you know Republicans is buying Fox News, and while Democrats is buying MSNBC, and even though I'm a Democrat and I love MSNBC, I'm going to just let everybody know what the is going on. How about that? All right, see you later. And it was brilliant.
Yep.
It was brilliant. Bill Maher, say what you want about the man. He made, what was that called? Politically Incorrect.
Yep.
The panel, everybody was talking, it went crazy, it was great. And now he has Real Time with Bill Maher. And the thing is this, he makes jokes and they still trying to figure out whether it's supposed to be this political straight man show or is it supposed to be for jokes. I mean, Bill Maher is a comedian, so the presentation is going to be as such, but he's letting you know, dog, I see the BS. We're going to get mad at comedians for doing the same thing now? Is that what we're going to do? We shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? Like, comedians are people as well. They have eyes, they have ears, their ears are to the street, they know what's going on. And they need that as ammunition because guess what we're doing on an everyday? These are topical conversations that me and Donte are having to talk to you about. And you guys and girls are doing the same thing when you're in your car, on Facebook, on Instagram. So this is just the world that we're living in right now. And listen, I hate to use some terms just to bring the pun in, but listen, Damon Wayans, bro.
your sex name was Blank Man. Dave Chappelle, I don't know, this sounds more like a rerun, bruh. Let's talk about NBA YoungBoy not being guilty. In my opinion, the NBA and YoungBoy stands for Never Bust or Automatic. Anyway, let's go to the next segment.
What the This that pilot right here.
Well, police say a Good Samaritan with a handgun saved lives after a deadly mall shooting. Here's what happened. The gunman opened fire inside a mall food court in Indiana on Sunday, killing 3 people and injuring 2 others. A 22-year-old man who was legally carrying shot and killed that gunman. Alexis McAdams has more. Hi, Alexis.
Hi, Dana. That's right. Well, this gunman who had a rifle and multiple magazines inside of that mall was shot and killed by that 22-year-old Indiana man who's now being hailed as a hero.
So this next topic is honestly a topic we tend to talk about a lot because it always is pushed in the forefront. And of course, I'm talking about guns. So even on the late night flight and shameless plug alert on the Talk My Credo podcast, we're always faced with the conversation of should you have a gun or shouldn't you have a gun for various reasons. And a lot of those reasons come up in the happenings of the world. So, I'm going to bring up 3 examples that happened within the last week alone. So you heard about the robbery attempt in Philly where the 2 dudes ran down. One of the dudes actually ran on dude in Crocs. Like, how do you run down on someone in Crocs? So you knew that was going to go in a crazy direction. So you also heard about the Indiana mall shooting,
right?
Where the civilian actually took down a mass shooter. And a straight up hero.
22 years old, by the way. 22 years old. Yeah. That's incredible. That's incredible. Yeah, that's a lot of maturity, a lot of maturation for a young man, 22 years old. Continue. My bad.
Exactly.
Put that out
exactly. Salute to him. And then you have the tragedy of the Law and Order actor who was also shot in his car. And so these are 3 stark examples of where someone maybe should have had one, maybe where someone shouldn't have had one.
Right.
So my question to you is to ask, are you ready to pick a side? As I've been struggling to do throughout this entire episode with the absolute stuff. But are you ready to pick a side to say, wait, does any of these instances that happened in the last week would give you reason to why we may need to carry or not?
I'm going to have to say no. And this is the main reason why. The only reason why I'm saying no, and that does not mean I don't believe that people should carry. I do. Well, I ain't gonna say I believe, but I have no issue with people having the license to carry.
Okay.
If you have the license to carry and you did the work, you did the discipline, you did your time in order, not that type of time, but the time as far as the discipline and the work, in order to have a gun and know how to use the gun properly, I'm cool with that all day long. You can walk into my house with the gun in your holster. Hey, what's up, Nas? How you doing? I won't be shook. It'll be all good. Now, with all that being said, here's my issue. I'm about to get it's about to sound very white Republican, but just think about what I'm going with this for a second.
All right.
What the f*** are we paying police for, yo? That's all I'm saying. People can just run up in a mall, just shoot up the mall. There's no type of police, nothing. I understand the security don't have any guns, so I'm not even going to go there with that. But I'm just saying, have police at the mall. What else are they doing between 2 and 11? Not much.
Exactly.
They can just stroll the mall like everyone else. They can just look at, they can window shop, not like 50 Cent, but they can just window shop. Patrol, talk to people, be good, what's that word? Samaritans, while they're protecting the law. This is how you have good police-citizen relationships. What do you think about that, Donte?
Actually, I agree.
I agree. That's just where I'm at with it. It's, okay, we're paying tax money for the police to do law enforcement. They're not enforcing a goddamn thing until after something happens. And then they look crazy because they over here putting people in Bobby Lashley's master lock. You know what I'm saying? They putting people in full Nelson wide to the ground. Like, they had a situation at the mall where in New Jersey, A white police officer had to apologize to a black teenager because a black teenager and a white teenager was having a fight. And they immediately just jumped and tackled.
And they jumped on the black kid. Yep.
They just looked like TJ and JJ Watt and said, get him. You know what I'm saying? And there you go. So it's those type of things. It's still that type of rhetoric. And not only do you hear it, you see it. But again, let's get back into the guns. Again, I just need law enforcement to step up so people wouldn't have to feel as if they have to have guns. Because again, unlike this 22-year-old that showed full-class maturity, full-blown maturity, my apologies, I still don't think every 22-year-old in America has that full-blown maturity. And I do not feel comfortable going outside with a bunch of 20 to 25-year-olders with guns licensed to carry.
If you don't get your short, overly energetic, enthusiastic, short lock bang having, hoochie daddy short wearing when it's not even summer, aiming your gun at people's ankles ass out of here. Anyway, don't forget to download us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, and Audible to catch me sitting on the pilot. On the pilot. My bad, pilot. Don't take it personal.
Well, so now you've got your own second season of your own sketch comedy show, That Damn Michael Che. Yeah. I do want to point out that you work on a sketch comedy show, maybe the sketch comedy show, and this is your side project. So it's a kind of a busman's holiday. Why do more sketch? Because you can do sketch.
Yeah, but this one's for black people.
Donte, you read the script. Please tell me you watched That Damn Michael Che. Please tell me you watched That Damn Michael Che on HBO. Please.
Okay. Whoa. Now, before we go any further,
okay,
it's not HBO.
What do you mean?
It's HBO Max. It's not the same.
Hey, yo. No, this ain't the journal piece, okay? It's not delivery, it's the journal. Ain't happening like that. No.
It's not delivery, it's the journal. But,
okay.
It's not the same.
Fine. So on HBO's Generation Z streaming platform, surplus platform entitled HBO Max, Saturday Night Live's very own Michael Che, who, by the way, is Saturday Night Live's very first Black American senior lead writer. This is the first ever. Okay? This is Martin Luther King stuff, but in 2022, okay? First ever senior lead writer. SNL's been out since the 70s, folks, okay? This is the first. And he has his own show, and we're going to review it real quick, and we're going to talk about it. But the reason why I want to talk about it is because I was watching your show. I was watching the Talk My Credo show, and you was talking about having more segments about the culture. And smart young man like me, well, I like to call myself smart. Let me use a better word. Sharp young man like me, I like to mess with people's minds. Like when women tell me that we're running stuff and whatever we touch, we can turn into gold. And I respect that. I'm not saying I disagree with that. I respect that. Can you please watch the WNBA? There's someone being held captive. That's how I feel about that real fast. So the reason why I talk about Michael Che right now is because I know a lot of Black Americans don't really know who this Black American that is doing some real deal Black American stuff in white America doing right now. Could you tell me you knew that Michael Che was this lead Black writer for Saturday Night Live?
In all honesty, no. I did not know.
Do you know the name of his partner? I don't mean to say it like that. It's not like that. I'm talking about his partner on Weekend Update when he does the Saturday Night Live skits.
Right. I know what you mean as far as partner goes.
Yes.
And I will continue to say, no, I do not know.
Okay. So his name is Colin Jost. And Colin Jost, who is a white American writer that's on Saturday Night Live. He's funny. He's married to the great Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow herself on The Avengers. All right. And right now, they have been this great tandem for the Weekend Update. For those who don't know what the Weekend Update is, that's when in the middle of Saturday Night Live, they usually do a newsroom segment where they just make jokes about the current topics, kind of like the Late Night Flight and Talk My Credo, but we actually do a better rendition. But for 10 minutes, this ain't bad. I can't stunt. Saturday Night Live, they have cornered the market on this gimmick right here with the newsroom gimmick. And I have to say, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, they were a great tandem. I even like Tina Fey and Jimmy Fallon. I really like Amy Poehler and Seth Meyers. But I gotta tell you, if Tina Fey and Amy Poehler is number one as the Weekend Update tandem, I'm going to have to say these brothers are number two. You may have to flip it around, maybe number one, number two. But what they do that I like so much is the way they deliver their jokes. They're not acting like newsroom people. They're just acting like two guys that happen to be in the newsroom setting, and we're going to just make our jokes anyway. And what's even more funny is that they do this Christmas gift swap joke. So, like during Christmas season, people, they swap gifts, things like that. So they swap jokes. And Michael Che makes sure that he has something racial every single time for Colin Jost. There was a joke that was said, he gave the joke to Colin Jost. And he was like, this is the old bat right here that I use to keep black people out of my neighborhood. And it had the whole audience going crazy. And Colin Jost just looked like, I can't believe you made me say that on air. That's ridiculous. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up to you is because here is a guy who is showing you Pan-African, pro-American style comedy that's on Saturday Night Live. And no Black Americans know about him. And even in the show that he's created, he makes a lot of jokes referring to that. Where, I'm Michael Che and I do this for the people. I am expressing Black excellence. I want to show you that I'm Black excellence, but no one knows about his Black excellence. In fact, no one even supporting his Black excellence except white excellence. So I just wanted to throw that to you. Let's talk about it right now. That damn Michael Che, which, hey, let's be honest, it's a very cinematic version of Dave Chappelle's Chappelle show. Very cinematic. Super duper cinematic. It's Saturday Night Live camera work with Dave Chappelle's thought pattern. Right. And it's probably a little bit more elaborate than what it needs to be. But anyway, that's not for me to say. Donte, you go first.
Well, this is going to be a little bit of a struggle. And I think that's probably the theme of this episode for me, where I'm just kind of struggling a little bit. Because I'm trying to find the way that I can admit that honestly, I don't know who the hell Michael Che is.
I thought it was because you're a Corona survivor, and you're just getting yourself back on your feet. So I was just allowing things to just slowly but surely get back to that Credo level of greatness that I know all and well.
This may be true, but I know one thing is for sure, that Credo level of greatness people actually know about.
Okay.
So I would just say this.
Don't you talk about Michael Che like that.
But I say that because, all jokes aside, I know who he is and I know, the capacity that he works. And honestly, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why as far as the culture. Don't really rock with Michael Che that much. Because we look at Michael Che as Wayne Brady.
Oh, no.
And
don't you do that.
I'm just going to be honest. We look at you're a talented dude. He cool. He have his little funny spots, but he corny. And that is honestly how I believe that people look at Michael Che, as far as because the spaces where he is absolute gold is white America. His comedy style and everything honestly reminds me of Wayne Brady on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Just
hold on now.
Absolute gold.
Oh, I was about to say, you better watch your mouth when it comes to Wayne Brady on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Because he was great on that show. Watch your mouth. You watch your mouth when you talk about Wayne Brady. Don't you talk about my Wayne Brady like that. Wayne Brady was magical. He was great. He was everything on Whose Line Is It Anyway? He was the line. Anyway, go ahead, keep talking.
He was the line.
He
Absolutely.
was the line.
Like that. Whose Line Is It Anyway? Isn't Whose Line Is It Anyway without Wayne Brady?
That's right.
And I believe that SNL.
That man got a daytime talk show and a game show off that. Never forget. Never forget.
And black people did not watch any of that.
Except for my grandmother. You watch yourself.
Yeah, as great as Wayne Brady was, we wasn't rocking with him like that. We did not rock with Wayne Brady until he did that show, that sketch on Chappelle Show.
You ain't lying.
When he did that amazing, legendary sketch.
Amazing. It was amazing.
And I feel like that's the same vein that Michael Che is in. And it's not to say that he isn't funny, because he is. He is to say he's extremely talented, because he is. It's just that the arena that he works in is not really, well, there's no black audience really. And I like how he's able to, like Wayne Brady, kind of take the perceptions that he knows people have of him and kind of play off of it a little bit. So like his latest episode on that damn Michael Che basically played off the entire perception that black people don't rock with you, Mike. And, I thought it was funny. I thought it was aware. And one thing that I always respect, regardless of my fandom of you, is are you listening to the culture? Are you aware of what's being said about you? Not necessarily you worrying about what people say about you, but at the same time, are you aware of how you're being received and how you're being perceived? And for a comedian, I think that is just probably the most important trait that you should have as a comedian, because you are literally holding up a mirror to the culture anyway.
Right.
So, but that's just kind of how I feel. I feel like he's getting the Wayne Brady treatment.
How many flights?
The flights, I would have to say 4. I'll give it a solid 4 flights.
Okay.
I'll give it 4 flights.
I ain't gonna hold you. You said mean things about Michael Che, and I'm gonna give him 3 flights. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the cinematography, the way it's shot, is too elaborate for the jokes that he's trying to make come across. They need to be honest with you, it needs to be a little bit more low income, because you're saying some hood stuff. Like, it's thoughtful. Yeah. But you got this looking like Kate McKinnon and Tina Fey about to pop out and do a skit with you. And when you do those type of skits, it may not have to be about race. I mean, if it's going to be about race, it's going to be about race. But the way you're making it come across, it's too glossy. You know what I mean? For real, in my personal opinion, it's just too glossy. Yeah. There was an episode where he wanted to do a brunch for Black excellence. And even though like he came to the brunch with the Jay-Z outfit on, had like the salmon color, the moth color suit, because you can't say pink when Jay-Z, hey, Jay-Z is pink? Is pink? No, it's moth. Watch your mouth. You know what I'm saying? And then he had the Jay-Z hairdo and he walked in there and no one was really at the spot. They was all at the new girl that's but she's on Showtime. I believe it's called Z-Way. That sister. Yeah. Right. So they was all at Z-Way brunch and he was mad at her. But the thing was, Black America, especially down South Atlanta, they know Z-Way. They know this sister. Like, no one really rocks with Michael Che, like you said, because his jokes have been for white America for these last 10 years. It's funny that we're talking about that, though, because think about Jordan Peele and Michael Key from Key and Peele. Yep. Here are 2 Americans that happen to be Black, and I'm not calling them Black Americans for a reason. They are Black Americans, but I'm trying to make a point. Just follow me for a second. They got the appeal from white America. You agree with that? Yes or no?
Yep.
They got the appeal from white America doing Dave Chappelle-like skits. And theirs wasn't as elaborate as Michael Che's. Like, Michael Che should get a nominee for an Emmy as far as cinematography. Like, it looks good. Key and Peele was not as low budget as Chappelle's show, but just in between Michael Che and Chappelle's show. The point I'm making is Jordan Peele, when they broke off and wanted to do their thing, Michael Key wanted to do movies and television. Jordan Peele started directing. Jordan Peele tapped in to that 10%, that Black man. He said, oh, nah, we're going to do Get Out. We're going to do Us. And now we got this new movie called Nope. And Nope is something that Black Americans say when we see some BS. Nope. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Nope. You know what I mean? So he's tapping into that when we didn't think he was even tapping into that in the first place. And I guess that's where I'm mad at Black America. I want you guys to tap into Michael Che. I want you guys to tap into Michael Che because he makes jokes for the culture. He defends us even when he knows white America likes him more. Like, that makes me like this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's doing some reverse Nat Turner in comedy. We'll be right back. This is The Late Night Flight.
But, like, let me ask you something. Who the is Michael Chai or Chi, or however you pronounce his last name? And what the is Saturday Night Live? That's not Wakanda Forever. It's more like white liberals on a Saturday. What happened to Natural? Come on now. What's the next segment?
If we're gonna compare the end of Desus and Mero to a music breakup, let's compare it to NWA. Negroes with no aptitude. That's what Hollywood prefers. Negroes with no aptitude will say and think whatever they're told. Like Man, Tan, and Sleep and Eat in the movie Bamboozled, Desus and Mero did not earn their network TV shows. Showtime hired Desus and Mero to serve as blackmail operatives for the Democratic Party. House Negroes handcuffed by Hollywood handouts. That's what should appear on the tombstone of Desus and Mero.
No, Desus, not Dezo. It's not Debo. This ain't Friday,
See, this is how you know I don't know these people.
Desus and Mero.
Desus, why the would he name himself that anyway? Who the is Desus and Mero?
Keisha, don't act like that. Keisha, do not act like that. Let me tell you something. You said you want to be a podcaster, Keisha. You said you want to be a podcaster. If there's anyone other than myself, anyone other than Donte, I would want you to be influenced by when it comes to podcasting. It is most definitely Desus and Mero. Desus and Mero started in 2013 on Complex. Their podcast, now check this out. Everybody's trying to do a visual podcast right now. It's something that me as an audio podcaster on the late night flight, I still run away from because if it's not done right, I don't want it to be done at all. Imagine this, Donte. 2013, they put together what I like to call a Twitter show, a scroll show. They use a Twitter style background while they used, again, Michael Che, like I told you in the last segment, his stuff was too glossy. They had the bodega crates with the cardboard and some BS brown cognac drinks. I'm pretty sure they was like fake drinks. They probably put some syrup in it, whatever, and just have it there as the aesthetic to show that they were from the streets. They wanted to show as they can be as relatable as they possibly can. These are two normal nerds from the Bronx, okay? These are not like some gangsters. These are some nerds from the Bronx wanting to be relatable to you. And they put together this complex Twitter show that I thought is the best version of anything they did. It was called Desus versus Mero. You can check that out on YouTube. Then in 2015, they made the podcast. I thought the podcast was fresh, not the greatest podcast in the world, but it's fresh because the skits and the bits, is great. And the production on it is great. How they talk, you might want a pilot named Nasur. You might want a pilot named Donte. But again, we're not here to bash them yet. We're not here to bash them yet. I'm giving them their points, give them their flowers, if you will. And then in 2017, they go to Viceland. They do a different style of Desus and Mero. Desus and Mero. Well, Desus versus Mero, rather. Whereas Desus and Mero, and they would just look at the TV and make their jokes. And it got so good to a point where Showtime picked it up and they was on the last 4 years, from 2018 to 2022. And they still got big time interviews from President Barack Obama, what's that homegirl name? AOC, Congresswoman AOC. The list goes on and on. Denzel Washington. I mean, they interview some great top tier talent in America. The same type of people that Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Fallon can get in a snap of the finger. Do you agree with my assessment so far of what Desus and Mero is and how they influence Black Twitter and Black America?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think you would be doing yourself a disservice if you cannot give them their flowers as far as one of the pioneers, if you will, using that specific term, one of the pioneers, because their style, while it was, it wasn't as polished, but at the same time, that's how you can appreciate it. But that was like the blueprint of so many different platforms that are excelling today. So you have to give them their flowers for that.
And they did it in 2013, 2014. People trying to do visual shows right now. They did one with Complex. Now, that also shows to people that it's kind of hard to do everything from home by yourself. Sometimes you may need a Buzzsprout-owned company like Complex to put together a real production. That's something that I go through personally with my own team at the Late Night Flight, where there's some things I want to do, and we can't really do it because production costs money. Production takes more people, and more people want more money. And we're just normal, everyday 9-to-5 workers. We can only give you what we got. Give you what you got. You know what I'm saying? That's all we could do. Right. So let me ask you this. We just gave these good people their flowers, their cookies, their points, all that good stuff. Why do you think after 4 seasons on Showtime, they hit the pinnacle? They went from Complex, they went from an internet station to a surplus cable premium network station, okay? And now they're gone. They're saying that, they're gonna split up. They're gonna do some different creative things because they're creative people. Why do you think they broke up after all this success since 2013?
To be honest, I really don't know. Because just for me, I admit, I really haven't followed them that as closely as I used to. Probably in the last maybe 3 or 4 years.
Now, do you look at them? Now, hold on. Do you look at them like Michael Che, like the way how you talked about Michael Che? Because I was upset with you. I was upset with you about that Michael Che stuff, man.
This is true. Well, I think you were more upset about my Wayne Brady part, but but honestly, yeah, it's not in the same. It's not the same as far as how I see them, but it's just I kind of. I don't want to say grew out of it, but it's like, all right, cool. I see what you're doing. But there now is almost like Netflix. It's like you guys were the pioneers, but now there's other people doing it too. And they're doing it just a little bit different, a little bit sharper, a little bit funnier, in my opinion.
Hold on, you got to give me a name. You got to give me a name. You got to give me a name.
I was just paying attention.
You got to give me a name, player.
No, I'm not giving that.
Give me a name.
You got me in enough trouble. You got me in enough trouble.
No. You don't do it like that.
You got me in enough trouble.
Who is doing it better than Desus and Mero? I'm not saying that they're doing it better than anyone. I'm just saying you said that there's some people that's doing it a little bit sharper, a little bit differently, and a little bit better. I want to know who those people are. Give me a name, please.
Donte Credo.
Okay.
And then
okay. No, continue.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
No, but I feel like for them, I would say just kind of reading and catching up on everything and trying to get the story without just really speculating on things. I feel like they are in a creative space where it's like, okay, what's next? Honestly, I don't think that it's necessarily like bad terms. I have seen some tweets, this and that, but I try not to get into the gossipy things. But I would imagine as long as they've been doing it, because this is a decade. They're a decade in. So, I would imagine now with all the success they've had, okay, let's try to explore some other avenues. It's not necessarily done. We haven't pulled the plug per se. Let's just kind of hit pause and let's kind of get into some other creative spaces. And then we can come back and see, how we can either elevate it or maybe pull the plug on it. So that's what I think is the reason they may have split up.
So here's a tweet from the kid Mero. This was in reply to Desus saying that the art is coming back. Please believe me. I love y'all. The kid Mero says, nah, it's a rap, Brody.
It's a
rap, Brody. There's some more, but I think that right there just sums that up. It's a rap, Brody. Now, they were at a celebrity softball game, I believe, during the MLB All-Star game. They were there at the softball game. I heard that they arrived separately, not together like they usually do. They didn't talk to each other. I'm gonna be honest. They are in the late night television field, even if they may not want to be, but they're there. Okay, so that means you're dealing with Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel. These guys are people that average 200 to 250,000 viewers a night. And that used to be so much more, but again, it's programming all over the board. So most people are watching it through YouTube and getting the monetization through that channel. So I want to break something down to you. If they're getting somewhere between 200,000 to 250,000 viewers a night, and Desus and Mero are getting somewhere, let's say, somewhere between 35,000 and 55,000 viewers a night, or on a Sunday night, because it was only going on once a week on the 4th season. Yeah. In my opinion, I think Showtime, they didn't want to like burn them and be like, they're out of here, they're canceled, get them out of here. They made it seem like, oh, due to them breaking up, we're canceling the show. No, what I think is that they canceled the show. Mero probably, we're speculating. I think Mero was like, you know what? I'm just done with this. Like, listen, and that's not a bad thing because they're done with it, right? But they're done with it being on premium cable television, though. This isn't me and you breaking up. Think about this. This isn't me and you breaking up, and then you just go back to being a post office worker and I just go back doing whatever I'm doing. Nah. These guys are in the industry now. I don't know if you know this, but Jimmy Kimmel has been taking a vacation. Desus has been guest hosting on that show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's more, in my opinion, it's more of, I'm going to be honest. I don't think the show was all of that, but because it came from a black and brown perspective, I think that the celebrities that they got to interview, I'm pretty sure they said a lot of good things about the show. There's a lot of good reviews about the show. If you go online and just ask about ratings and reviews of this show, they always talk about how it's fresh and groundbreaking. The thing is that when you're not getting a lot of viewership on cable network, they're going to cancel you no matter what. That's just going to happen. But I will say this one thing too. Samantha Bee, white sister that was on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, she's having poor ratings, poor numbers as well on TBS. They still keep her on. I understand that she's a woman. I understand that she's a white woman. I get all that. But if we're going to have low numbers from this sister, those low numbers from these brothers that was doing something so fresh and groundbreaking, I don't see why you couldn't kept them on for another season, especially when coronavirus really took, I mean, that was a gut punch to the world. And they still was on for 2 years doing a virtual show, interviewing great people, doing what they do. Overall, I could be honest and say that their delivery, as far as their articulation, that's why I could see why someone like Donte Credo was like, hey man, someone can do it a little sharper and better. Okay, you right. And I think I can do something. Well, not do something. I can do what they do a little bit better as well, but that's just an opinion. I'm really happy at the fact that I got to see these brothers do it for a good 8 years and really like take podcasting to Hollywood. Because now they have an opportunity to work in Hollywood, whether they come back together or separately. And I just hope, I pray, if it's me, you, Keisha, co-producer, Smarts, whatever the case may be, KT, all of our good people, like, if we got to that mountain, and even then at that mountain, we split up and did the things that we like to do, I just hope that we still keep that bond, that real friendship, and we don't let the media say, yo, we split up. No, it's like, nah, we just doing other things that we like to do. One person like to work out, the other person like to write. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just trying to figure all these things out and do a global takeover. So I just hope that people look at Desus and Mero as them just, they're separating from each other to do the things that they like to do, and then they're going to come back and then make something even bigger and better, just like Key and Peele is doing. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you have a great week. I hope you have a great rest of the month. This is The Late Night Flight. Well, I'll at you.
Thank you for flying The Late Night Flight. Shout out to all the pilots who contribute to the fastest rising podcast.
Hey, yo, what the f***? This is a pilot right here.